Will the clerk please call the roll?
Bell,
Here.
Curran,
Here.
Freeling,
Present.
Harrison,
Here.
Hinkleman,
Here.
Majerick,
Here.
Hot,
Here.
Pittsburgh, Allrath,
Here.
Orfall,
Here.
Yarborough,
Present.
Elliott.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 11 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. And we're all happy to see Mamie back from her world travels. So I imagine John's happy because farming operations are kicking into high gear now. So minutes from a week ago, or May 25th, that's right, we were in Three Oaks last week. Any changes to those?
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion that we approve those minutes.
Moved by Freeling, is there support? Supported by Werfel. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. We have requisitions.
Good morning. Does anybody have any questions about the requisition list? Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Mercury Broadband. Mr. Clark, welcome.
Before we get started, to Julie, to the Herald Palladium, and to the board, the presentation, the slide deck you're going to see today has been updated since the email went out. So it'll be slightly different than what was shared with the board. I'll send a copy of the updated presentation to you all over the next few minutes, and then to the Herald Palladium, you'll have it in the next few minutes as well. While we get started, we do have Mercury here today to talk about the rollout of broadband connectivity options that they'll be providing to Berrien County residents. I think about a year and a half ago, you all heard a presentation from Mercury. At that time, just getting started in their process. So this will be an update on what they are rolling out to this area. With that said, Mr. Clark, are you ready to get going?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna slide you back.
All right, very good. Well, I'm Scott Clark, as Brian said, and it's my pleasure and privilege to be with you today. So I really appreciate the time to spend with you. So I'll move to a presentation, and then certainly want to make sure that there's time for you guys to ask some questions, because happy to do that. And welcome to the folks that are on the Zoom call as well. So we'll get to it. So what I want to do is, gosh, and this doesn't look like the one that I had, but that's okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, you can't hear me. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay. I'll try to talk closer to this mic here.
Yeah, so let's try that.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now? Yeah. All right. So in terms of areas that I was going to cover with you guys this morning, talk a little bit about company overview, kind of our story, our mission, our values. We do things a little bit differently in terms of how we go about our business. We think it's a better way, a differentiated way. So I want to make sure you guys understand what that looks like. You know, you can't do a broadband network on your own. You have to have a lot of great partners that are part of that ecosystem. So I just have a quick slide on, you know, representative samples of those partners. We have a community engagement program that I want you guys to be aware of. And then I have a snapshot of kind of the awards that we've won within the state of Michigan, as well as we'll get into Berrien County as well, specifically at the end. I'm a little concerned because this slide is not my new slide, but it looks like my other ones are in here. So we'll move on to kind of our story, our mission, and our values. So we're a family-based company. It was started by two young brothers. They were 18 and 22 years old, respectively, when they started the company in 2007. And they really started the company because of why we're here today. The need for broadband services in rural America. They recognized that need back in 2007 and started this business in the state of Kansas. really humble beginnings. These two young men, came up with a business plan, took it to a local bank, got it approved. They started officing out of the basement of a bank. So their office door was literally a vault where the turnstile had been removed. No windows in the basement. I guess that's motivation to grow your business, right? And they recruited their sister to join the company in 2015 after she got her CPA and master's. Today, those family members are still extremely active in the company. Garrett is our CEO, Blake is our Chief Technology Officer, and Angela is our Vice President of Finance. Garrett just had a baby yesterday, so I imagine he's probably not thinking a lot about Mercury Broadband today, but he had a family event. So we're really proud of our senior management team. It's very talented. It goes well beyond the family. I would encourage you to go out to our website and take a look at some of the folks that we have running the company. As just one example, our CFO was formerly at Sprint and T-Mobile and ran multi-billion-dollar divisions of both of those companies. And that's the kind of talent you're going to see within our company. Kansas City has some really good telecom talent that you can draw from, given Sprint's headquarters was there. So that's a little bit about the family that runs the company. I'll let you guys read our company stated mission and our value statement, and I'll talk a little bit about why I joined the company. So I joined the company in early February. So I'm actually a fairly new member of the company. And prior to that, I was with Sprint T-Mobile for 22 years. And I was really looking for, in my next career opportunity, a company that had, a wonderful mission with a great, company culture, that was running the company, that had great values. And I really found that in Mercury Broadband. I was really drawn to this company. Rural broadband is something that I'm passionate about. My personal background is, on my mom's side of the family, they were farmers. On my dad's side of the family, they worked for the telephone company, for United Telephone, which was the local division that became Sprint. So my grandfather was a foreman. My grandmother was a switchboard operator. My dad worked for the company, a couple of my uncles, and of course I followed suit at some point. So the combination of telecom and rural is really where my passion is. We only do business in rural America, so we're not in urban areas within the United States. So in terms of company overview, we celebrated our 16th anniversary last year, or excuse me, 15th last year. We're coming up on 16 this year. We only do business in the Midwest, so we proudly operate in Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Michigan, Missouri, and Ohio. And we're headquartered in Mission, Kansas, which, to give you an idea of where that is, it's about just 15 minutes or less from downtown Kansas City metropolitan area. So that's where we're located. We currently have we're probably up to 360 or so employees today, and we're ramping all the way up to 750 by the end of this year. The vast majority of those employees are out in the field, doing the construction, the installation, the trouble tickets, that kind of work. And then the rest of those employees, I think we have about 100 employees in our corporate headquarters. We also announced last year a really important strategic partnership with a company called Northleaf Capital Partners. And we have about 12,000 fiber miles that we need to install as a part of our RDOF awards across our 6 states. And so, obviously that takes a lot of capital to do so, and to do it at the pace that we wanted to and the way that we wanted to do it, we brought on some capital. So This organization has pledged up to $230 million for us to roll out just our RDOF installations alone. So we're very well funded. This is a bit of an eye chart, and I'm not going to take you through this whole timeline. The only thing I really wanted to highlight here, and you guys can go back and read this at your leisure, is in 2020, when we were awarded all of the RDOF business, we kind of switched gears. So we have been traditionally a fixed wireless company. You know, back in 2007, there really wasn't a lot of fiber going on. And so we built that competency of fixed wireless for many years. And then in 2020, we also became a fiber company. And we're really today fiber first, which means if we can put fiber in the area based on the topography and the population base and the economics of the area, we'll do fiber first. And then we can also do fixed wireless. So because of that, we changed our name. It was Mercury Wireless, and we changed it to Mercury Broadband so that people would understand we're really broader than just a wireless company today. In terms of business model and how we do things, so as I said at the onset, we do things a little bit differently, and we're really proud of kind of how we go about this. So one of the advantages that we offer a community like Marion or any other community that in the states where we operate is that we really have three disciplines in terms of our technology deployment. So as I said, we started out with fixed wireless. We also now have been doing fiber for several years, and then we can also do a hybrid network. So if you think about a state like Michigan or a community like this, it can't be served typically 100% to fiber. It usually will rely on some fixed wireless as well. So we're the kind of provider that has that expertise to do, a network that takes advantage of really covering as many possible people and community anchor institutions as we possibly can, and really getting that total coverage, if you will. The other thing that we're doing is, we're really planning routes within our states and within the communities that we serve. And what I mean by that, in terms of contributing to job growth, economic growth, is we're establishing permanent service centers within the states. So within Michigan, as an example, we will have 7 service centers at least. We have 4 today. And what that means is we have a brick and mortar location. We hire a general manager for that location, and that general manager is responsible for all construction, customer installation, and customer technical support. So all of those resources are housed at that location, as well as our equipment to build out the networks. We have a laydown yard in those areas. And so those employees are all located there. In addition to that, within the states, we also have field sales and marketing managers, and I'll explain what their role is in a minute. And then we also have a community engagement program, and I'll get to that as well. We utilize as our standard approach our own crews. So that's our preferred approach. To date, we haven't used any outside resources in terms of our crews. The advantage of that is obviously, you hire them, they're permanent employees, they're loyal to the company, you train them to the standards that you want to train to in terms of installation. And then it allows you to do things faster, more efficiently, and in the way that we want to have it done to get in and out of the community with the least amount of disruption. So as you guys know, when you come in and you put in fiber networks, you're tearing up the ground, right? And you want to make sure that it is done as in a minimal way, and also that it is restored so that the community and the folks, embrace the company, the services, and they're not upset about how it was done. We also own our own equipment. So everything that it takes to plow, drill, stand up equipment on towers, we have all of our own trucks and equipment, et cetera. So most people obviously are reliant on, outside resources to do their installations. They may be relying on outside equipment, and there's, it's really no secret that it's difficult right now in terms of resources. There's a scarcity of people, trained labor, equipment, fiber, you name it. So this allows us to control our process, have things when we need to have it. It's a little slower to get started because obviously we're either constructing a building or leasing a building and getting all of that set up. I mentioned that you really can't do this alone. You have on an end-to-end network in terms of designing, constructing, owning, and managing that network. There's a lot of partners that have to be brought to bear. We work with the very best within those companies' specific disciplines. I'm just putting up here an example, representative example of some of the companies that we work with. So I already mentioned Northleaf. We work with a company called Calix, who's our primary electronics vendor. So when we give customers our service, we give them a router that's really a commercial grade, really good router for their homes. It's about a $500 value, and they get that without any cost. Calix provides that router. We also use Vetro for our fiber mapping, for our network planning, as well as inventory and asset management. We use Vitruvi for construction software. Excuse me. And on the wireless side, we use Samsung as our primary company for the radio and the gears that go on the gear that goes on the tower, and Airspan is our secondary partner. I could put a lot of other partners up here like Cisco Systems, other companies like that, but I think you guys get the gist of what I was trying to do here. From a community standpoint, it's really interesting. I put in some of the old slides. There are a lot of things that we do to make sure that we're a part of the community. So I mentioned that we have the general managers in our service centers, and they're really the conduit to the community to help everybody make sure that you understand the cadence of the construction. So when is it starting? How is it progressing? What are your milestones? When do you think it'll be completed? If there's anybody that a resident has an issue of any kind, they can go back to that organization and talk to them. Some folks they don't realize that, their lawns has some right of way in it, right? And so if they see somebody put a box in their yard, it's irritating and concerning. And sometimes you guys might get a call about that, and we can circle back and explain to them what's going on. I also explain that we have field sales and marketing folks, and their job is to make sure that they come into the community and create awareness that the service is coming, hold marketing events, sign up events, do advertising. When you come in and you put this in, you want to make sure that the residents know that the services are available. So they do a lot of educational campaigns, etc. We're also participating in the Affordable Connectivity Program. So for folks that qualify because of economic circumstances, we absolutely participate in that program. So we want folks to know how they can do that, how they qualify for that, where they go for digital literacy resources, things along those lines that really aid people being comfortable using the service, signing up for the service, enjoying the service. We also, want to do sponsorships within the community. So if, the local baseball field needs a little love, or a team needs to be sponsored, we do those kinds of things. Local large events like, I know Traverse City, has their Cherry Festival, and Holland has their Tulip Festival, and many communities have a parade, etc. Whatever it is that's your core community events, we'd like to help sponsor those, as well as charitable giving and support. Obviously we don't have endless dollars, but we certainly want to be a part of the community. I wanted to give you guys an idea of kind of from a macro perspective, just in terms of our presence within the state of Michigan, and then we'll talk directly about Berrien County. So we've been participating in several of the grant programs, starting with the Connecting Michigan program. So we participated in all 3 of those rounds. And so I just put this together so that you guys could kind of see what that looked like, what counties are covered as a part of that program. We also participated in the FCC Auction 903, which is the Connect America fund. And then we most recently participated in RDOF. So in terms of RDOF within the state of Michigan, we were actually the 3rd highest award grantee of all the providers who went after business in the state. So we were awarded about $38 million in grant funds, and that was intended to help augment the cost of covering approximately 78,000 unique areas that the FCC carved out. So, Michigan's a big deal to us. It's a very important state. We'll have a lot of presence here. And we'll have, I would say that we will dedicate around half of our human resources and our financial resources just to support the state of Michigan. And then from a current offering standpoint, so where are we today? We have 4 service centers within the state: Kalamazoo, Ann Arbor, Grand Rapids, and Flint. This particular area would be taken care of out of the Kalamazoo office, which is fully functional. We've got active fiber projects in about 8 communities at this point. Population that's covered is primarily wireless coverage at this point because it's faster to be able to implement and get up and running. So we've got about 250,000 people that we have coverage in terms of if they want to sign up for the service, they have availability. And actually, that number is going to be a bit dated because it's what we reported to the FCC as of the end of last year. And we offer 150 by 20 service through that fixed wireless offering. We have 3 packages today from a pricing standpoint: $50, $65, and $99 for fixed wireless. We offer the router for free if you need a mesh extender, if your house is rather large, or if you want to extend your wireless to an outside environment. It's just $10 a month to have a mesh extender. Our service is unlimited, so we don't throttle your usage. And if you want digital phone service, it's just $20 a month. We also offer, obviously, our fiber offerings. So we try to offer the customer choices, and especially at the low end, sometimes you won't see an offering out there because there's 2 different things. One, not everybody needs all of this bandwidth. And in fact, I would tell you that nobody really needs 1,000 by 1,000 symmetrical gigabyte service for a residential offering. But if they want it and they believe they need it and they have a very large family, or maybe they're doing a small business out of their home, then, maybe that's the right service for them. But for somebody that doesn't, have as much money and they want to have a great service, they can start with us for just $65 a month, and they can move up to the different tiers if they feel like they need more bandwidth. So that's important to us, to have affordability in the mix at the lower end and have a starting point for customers. We also have our wireless offering. So there's 3 different choices: Foundation, Essential, and Enhanced. So you can get 30 megabytes down, 75 or 150 as your options there. And you can see the pricing. It's $50, $65, and $99. And then I just wanted to let you know that we do also have an offering for small businesses. So for fiber, we have 3 symmetrical options: 100, 500, and 1,000 gigabyte options. And then for fixed wireless, we've got two different options, 75 and 150. So that kind of concludes the overarching, what I wanted to share with you. And then Brian just walked out, or is he here? So the other thing I wanted to show you is Berrien County specific information. Do we have those?
I'm gonna have you slide.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we'll start with the first image.
Yeah, let's start with the grants. Let me see, is there a grant one?
Right there.
Yeah, Berrien County grants. Yeah, and if you want to stay here, we can. So the first image that I wanted to show you guys is the grant document. So this is the grants that we received for your area, and it shows in red that would be Connected Michigan, and also the CAF2, and also RDOF. That's going to be your red. So those would be fixed wireless deployments that the FCC awarded. And then the areas that you see in green, excuse me, will be fiber builds. One thing that I wanted to point out to you guys is, so the FCC obviously carved out a very specific area by which they awarded a grant, right? But when we look at these areas, and Chris will attest to this, it's kind of silliness not to fill in, the areas that surround that to make sure that you're expanding the number of folks that can take advantage of your network. So when we do a fiber network design, it will almost certainly be inclusive of more folks than what was initially earmarked by the FCC. Obviously, we're careful not to overbuild if there's already going to be another service provider in that area. We don't want to use either our resources or your public funds in a way that's inefficient. So we try to be very smart about that. But the wireless network, the fiber networks, just know that they're going to be broader than what you'll ever see on a map that just shows you the award areas. So I think the next one we'll go to. We need to pay Brian a little extra money today, whatever he's getting from the county, to be able to serve up all my slides. Okay, so we got, let's go ahead and let's go here. So this next slide that you're going to see is coverage as of today. When we get this one up. So every blue dot that you see on here is a point of presence or a parcel, think of it that way, that is covered by our wireless services. So that's what you see filled in today. I believe that's about, if I remember, it's about 35,000 points of presence and that was at the end of December. So I'm certain that that's even greater. Everywhere where you see a green diamond on there, those are fully functional cell tower access points. Where you see yellow, those are under development and will be coming online between now and the end of the year, just in that kind of cadence. And then we don't really have to bring up the next slide. So as you guys can see, there's two green areas. One up in the north and one kind of in the middle of the county. That's where our fiber builds will take place. And those will start in the fourth quarter of this year so that you guys have an understanding of timing. So with that, that's really kind of what I wanted to take you guys through. Sorry, it sounds like I didn't leave a ton of time for questions based on your agenda, but I want to answer anything that you guys might have in your mind right now, and then certainly I'm available to you. I've laid my card there for everyone. I'll be meeting with the broadband task force later today, and then I'll also be a part of the chamber meeting that's tomorrow. So hopefully you have some opportunity to throw some questions at me. Does anybody have anything that they would like me to address today?
Any questions for Mr. Clark? Yes, sir.
When you say wireless, it's not, this isn't satellite
No.
based. I
no,
mean, this
no.
is peer to peer
Yeah,
where they come, they
terrestrial.
put a thing on the roof that shoots to a
Yeah,
wire
so
tower.
it's fixed wireless.
Fixed wireless,
It's what they
okay.
call terrestrial, so it's not satellite.
Gotcha,
Right,
okay.
so there's, we will mount our radio on a tower, and then we will point that to the areas that we want to serve, and then you install a receiver on your home or your business to accept that signal. Great question. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Michael?
so right now, the way to access your product is online. You don't have any general service managers yet, offices or stores.
Oh, when you say access it, sign up for the service? Yeah, so if you go online, we actually have a place where people can fill in their information. It will allow them to check to see if they have service available today, or whether they will have service available, down the road. And we will keep that information in the queue. And as these towers turn up or as fiber gets turned up, then we'll reach back out to those customers and make them aware that the service is available. But they'll have a way to check to see. We've got software that accounts for what we call clutter. So within Michigan, as you go further north within the state, you get into heavily forested areas. Fixed wireless does not like trees. And so it'll give you a degree of predictability of whether you get the service. And if it's kind of on the edge, we actually send somebody out to your home to evaluate whether you can get the service, so that you don't go through the hassle of signing up and then figuring out you can't get it. Great question, Michael.
Ma'am,
Did you guys apply for the Robin grant? And if so, which areas?
We did not. We were awarded a lot of RDOF across our 6 states. And candidly, we just made the decision that we want to make sure that we're in the position to execute in an exceptional manner against what we were already awarded before we took on additional business. So what we wanted to do is do Robin and then do BEAD. So we actually didn't participate in any of the other opportunities across our other states that were localized like Robin. But we will be fully participating in BEAD again, because at that point we'll have our service centers fully up and operational, and we'll be off and running, so that's something we want to make sure that we don't over promise and under deliver, because communities have been waiting a very long time for the service. And so we want to make sure that for the awards that we get, we can put those networks in place, as quickly as we possibly can. And so that's why we didn't participate in Robin.
ma'am,
Yes, I would like to know what makes a community rural? What makes you not say that we're not going over this on this side of the street?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I'm not sure statistically how we define that. And I can get back to you with that answer.
Yeah.
Like what I can tell you is we stay away from major metropolitan areas. So
Is this a major, St. Joe would be a major
no. So
metropolitan
what I'm
area?
talking about, and for you guys, it definitely is, right? What I'm talking
Yeah.
about is Detroit, as an example. We would not go into the city of Detroit, or on the edge of Detroit. So it's just not. It's not where our mission is. It's not our objective. And so if that helps you think about, very large populous cities, we're not going to be there at all.
And that's what I wondered, if it was based on population. But I think about our areas and we're considered small. But if I'm not happy with my Comcast, can I call you?
Oh, well, absolutely. We would.
Personal.
We would love for you to do that. So absolutely.
That's what I want to understand, where you go.
Yeah, and so there's a
where
slide
you
that
stop.
I presented on here that showed our wireless
Yes.
today, and
I
that
saw that.
covers about 35,000 people, all the blue dots that are on there.
Okay.
And then we'll also have fiber in two of the areas within Berrien, depending on where you live. Yeah,
Thank you.
We were bumping up against
Yeah.
the time limit. and
Yeah,
the
very good.
Committee will need this room
Yeah.
for a presentation.
Thank you.
so thank you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Send me any questions that you have or
Yeah.
funnel them through Terry Sue, and we'll certainly get back to you. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for the time this morning.
Thank you. Public comments, any?
Mr. Chair, just quick housekeeping. Admin committee's being asked to stay in here. Kristen from Outcomes for Animals will be talking with the admin committee. She'll be joining them via Zoom. So anyone that's interested in hearing that can stay in this room. We'll have a little bit of legwork, so we've got to get that set up. And then we'll be back here for the regular meeting.
If there are no public comments, does anyone have any other business? All right, and we're done till 10:30.